Hello and welcome to the PrimalSomething podcast. We're now on episode 3. I'm Ed and I'll be joined by Stephen, who we had on last episode, and Ahmad, who is a student at Northumbria University studying design for industry. Ahmad is from Singapore, and we go into quite a bit of discussion about Singapore and the lifestyle over there. Unfortunately, we missed quite a lot of discussion before we turned the mics on, but we tried to sort of retrace our steps. So enjoy the episode. If you want to check us out, we're now on iTunes. We've got the website up and running, which is PrimalSomething.com. We're also on SoundCloud and YouTube now as well, so it's worth checking out. Enjoy the episode. We're here today with Stephen. We had Stephen on episode 2, and Ahmad. Obviously, I'm Ed from episode 1. Ahmad's a student at Northumbria Uni, currently studying design for industry. And he's from Singapore. Unfortunately, we just missed a whole conversation about the whole history of Singapore and stuff like that, but we thought we'd switch on the mics to continue that convo. So
because we couldn't miss out on any more.
Yeah. Pretty much how it was going.
Yeah, but I think we were talking about like death sentences. I think it really depends on the country. Let's say this is the rules and regulations for this country, and if you were to do drug trafficking and you get caught, it's against human rights and stuff like that, but it's against the country's law. Like if you were to get any single thing, like if you were to do like drug trafficking elsewhere and you get like caught and stuff, I think it's against you're being against the rules and you should be punished
by
accordingly. It's the rules of the country. Like it's the same thing with the Bali 9. Like those people who got caught for trafficking like cocaine and heroin. Like it's the country. You get caught. What you gotta do? You can't do anything about it.
I was going to say, Ed, what's your thought on the death penalty?
I don't know. My problem with the death penalty is it's so easy to stage stuff.
There's no coming back. Exactly.
It's like it's a one-way trip. It's like with prison. I mean, I don't know if you've seen that documentary on Netflix. What's it called?
Yeah. Making of a Murder.
Making of a Murder. Exactly. Yeah. If he was killed, and he's now been proven innocent. I'm talking about the younger one. Is it Brandon or something? So if he was killed, and then he was proven innocent, then you've just killed an innocent man.
I get what you mean.
I mean, it's bad enough that he's been in prison already for something that he hasn't even done. But on the other side of things, you do get like crazy mass murderers who probably should be just removed from existence.
Isn't it not the problem though that when you treat violence with more violence, it just becomes more violence, more barbaric?
Yeah, but is that not primal?
Yeah, it's like human nature, we're quite primal. Like humans are quite primal.
If you think about like a pack of wolves or a pack of apes, or I don't know what they call them. Do they call them packs of apes? And if one of them does something wrong in their society, then that might be punishable by death.
But isn't that not classed as being we're civilized? That's the whole point.
Are we civilized?
We're supposed to come across that way.
To be honest, I don't think humans are civilized.
I don't think we've reached a level of intelligence.
No.
Yeah. So actually,
we might be on the top of the food chain, but I still think we're quite stupid.
We have an understanding. So we have an understanding that we know we're doing wrong, but we don't have the
willpower,
social intelligence to actually make that decision to stop.
The path what I was actually going to be going down with this gentleman here about Singapore and the death sentence. Obviously, you don't mind us asking. You said you're going to put yourself out there. When we first started speaking about Singapore, the bit what you've missed off, and you said that basically there was less freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got a country with less freedom of speech.
Yeah.
You've also got, since independence, a group of hardcore individuals or family what runs the country. And to me, that would then signify that the death sentence can be used to keep everything in order for that elite. And that's what scares me. Do you understand that when you have that threat of this is death and then there's no coming back, whatever it is, you can then use that death sentence for whatever ruling and whatever. And the problem
societal
and the
control.
problem, and the problem what I have in society, in world, it's a bit like we'll go back to my favourite character, Donald Trump. We'll go back to him now. But what will happen is this: Donald Trump runs a global empire, a multi-billion-dollar empire, and at a certain point, people or a group of people or individuals, they're not satisfied. It's not about money, it's about power. And one of the biggest problems what society in the world has, what I say, is how do these individuals or groups or families, how do they do it? How do they relinquish power? They don't know how to do it because they're addicted to it, like a drug. It's like a drug. That in itself, you could say, is worth a death sentence because of them not being able to relinquish power. they then issue that to other people. That's what scares me. So, for instance, like you said, getting back to Donald Trump, one of the things what most presidents have done, it's called a blind trust. When you come into office, you show your tax returns to say, look, that's what business I've done, that's what type of person
You don't have to do that though, do you?
No, but that's what they do.
Because
because of conflict of interests.
It's what society wants.
But it's a conflict of interests. Imagine if I've got businesses in Russia, and now I'm the president, and I've got billions of pounds. Or, this is to show that my loyalty lies with the country. It's not going to be swayed by what happens in Singapore because I've got 3 hotels over there.
But
do you understand?
Yeah.
But what then should happen is, he should have put the apparently, this is just what I'm reading, remember, there's fake news out there, but what should then happen is they put it into something called a blind trust. So they separate themselves from that business and say, look, I'm no longer going to have anything to do with this anymore.
Didn't he give his son?
Yeah, he's given it to his son, which he can then revoke at any time.
Yes.
So he hasn't. Back to what the problem is. We'll touch on Singapore again. He hasn't relinquished any power. So these people or these societies or countries have death penalties, but at the same time, by your words, there's not much freedom of speech. Or there's military service that you have to do, and there's a hardcore a group of a family who run it. There's a death sentence. For me, that's why I'm very apprehensive about them type of things. Do you want to lean on from that?
Well,
so if it's about power, in that sense, how would you approach punishing those who've murdered others? If you wouldn't do it through the death sentence, and I know in this country obviously we have. You can give life sentences.
Well, I mean, life sentence here isn't life sentence.
Is that not a death sentence?
Well, to be honest with you, like the life sentence here is not life sentence. You don't stay.
No, but you can get more than one life sentence.
Yeah, but you don't stay there throughout your entire life, and you die if you were to die in prison. Like in Singapore, if you get life sentence,
it's for life.
It's for life. You stay there until you die.
I think
it's the same as America.
I think that's one of the misconceptions. If I explain what I think I know about it, all these people out there who want to correct me, the police come forward. But you can get a recommended sentence. So what the judge can do is he'll say, you have to do 40 years before you have parole.
Yeah.
Now, this is what I recommend that you do. That's the tariff what I'm putting on you. So if he says that's what you have to do, 20 or 30 or 40 years. Which, if you get a life sentence, what that means is you're permanently on probation. Forever. So if someone...
Oh, I see.
It's a life sentence. Yes, because what happens is if you say murder an individual... God forbid, somebody, I'm not going to say you, Ed, because I know for a fact your beautiful brown eyes wouldn't do that.
Stabbing people.
You just wouldn't do that.
No, not with a knife.
Definitely not. Definitely not. What's your favourite tool?
My favourite tool?
What would be your favourite tool?
Loads of toothpaste. Just
clog up every esophagus on the body with toothpaste. No, so what then happens is, if you get convicted of a murder, and they say you can come out, you come out, do you know if you do it again? Gone. That's it. That's the life. You've done it. You were on a life sentence, and you've now done that again. You're finished. Some people would say no, don't have that second chance. But for me, lock them up for us forever.
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 But then that comes back down to who's going to pay for that?
Yeah. And you're running out of space. More people killed, mass murders and
It's that again. It comes back to the whole social responsibility.
Do you know which country? I can't remember. Like I said, I wish I had my laptop in front of me, so I can't quote the figures what I can find. What country imprisons the most people?
I have no idea.
I'm going to go on China because there's a lot of Chinese people. America.
United States of America.
Yeah.
They imprison the most people.
They imprison foreigners as well.
I think it's something like, I wish I had my computer to check the statistic out, but it might be something as much as 1 in 3 or something like that of the whole world prison population is in America, or 1 in 4.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I think I've seen a documentary. Most of them go back into prison because prison's life's good. They have nothing in the outside
Remember,
world.
people, I haven't got my laptop in front of us, so I'm quoting figures now, kind of. Yeah, that's what I was going to do.
Yeah.
But compared to the whole world, can we get the statistic up?
So according to the US Bureau of Justice Statistics, 2,220,300 adults were incarcerated in the US federal and state prisons.
Yeah, like you said, but compared to the whole world, how many is that?
Yeah.
I think it is a large figure. I can't remember what it is, but it is a large percentage what does go to America. What I would like to say on that front was the worrying thing, what Anthony perked up about, and that was the path what I was going to go down, is that these prisons are now privately owned.
Yeah.
So it's about
business.
profit. It's business.
Yeah.
So, but we're now making money
by sending people into prisons.
No, that's dangerous. Very, very dangerous. You've got to admit that.
Yeah, it's super dangerous.
You reckon that's where hip hop come from, to try and
What do you think about that? Have you got any thoughts about that? Having a privatised prison system, and it's starting to creep in the UK as well. You've got private contract. What do you think of that?
Well, I'd really depends on the rules.
Is it private?
Yeah.
Because
shares, people buying shares in that business. You want more people to be.
But then where does that business get their money from? They'll get it from the government.
They'll get government contract.
Because the prisoner certainly doesn't pay for their incarceration.
Rap and hip hop, that's why it was meant to have originally been made. To send people in that sort of mentality, so that more people go to prison, so they make more money.
So as you can see, we've just got a chart up once again. Might be fake news.
No,
we don't know what it is. We haven't got it.
Yeah, it's BBC.
Yeah, could be.
Could be fake news here.
Number 1 on the list is America with 2.1 million. China 1.5, so it's still way out in front. Russia, Brazil, India, Mexico, Ukraine, South Africa. England's still up there. 80,000. So America, think about that though. England's got 80,000. America's got 2.1 million. It's a lot. That's a lot of people. It's a lot of people, and this is private business now. So the point what you were saying, Ed, when you said who does it benefit? Who's going to pay for these things? Well, if I've got a contract and I've got shares, you won't want people locked up for a very long time.
That does make sense. But who is paying those prisons?
Yeah. Well, there's another thing. Like I say, I'm not an expert in this field, but what I did come across, if it was right, is that they're getting more and more of these prisons, these privately run prisons and prisons in general, to do work. So because they're prison, there's no minimum wage. So then you can get people. So then you can get people to do, and they're getting companies, other corporations, post office and whatever else, things like that.
Yeah.
To do, you've got a workforce what's working for a couple of dollars a day.
Yeah.
Legally.
Oh yeah.
Legally. What a fantastic enterprise this is.
Should start a prison.
Yeah, why not?
Start a prison. Next thing you know, you'll be picking up the phone. You'll be picking up the phone, and you'll be like, "This is Tom from Alabama. Alabama where? Alabama penitentiary. You know what I mean? But what call centre is this? It's Franklin Prison. It's Franklin Prison. Who's this? It's Peter Sutcliffe. Peter Sutcliffe's on the end. He's working for I don't know. Barclays banking. Were you laughing at?
Well, no, it could happen.
Yeah.
That's why I'm laughing.
Don't
Yeah.
worry. The working. And at the end of the day, it sounds good on reflection.
It's putting them
Yeah.
back into society on a
really?
safely.
But the CEO of that company is making.
Oh yeah.
Millions and millions.
Out of-
yeah. Of just putting people in prison.
But they're gonna need a constant flow of workforce. So where does that come from? Ta-da!
Well, I mean, like at the end of the day, you don't see a lot of stuff on the outside. Like they can say this and they can say that. The news can say this, but at the end of the day, whether we see the actual thing, that's a different thing. So we never know the truth. At the end of the day, when even now, whenever I read the newspaper, it's like, is this actually true, or is it telling me something else that I should not
what
be
benefit
listening to?
does this bring?
Yeah, what benefit does this bring and stuff like that? But I think there's too many secrets right now in the entire world where they're telling that, oh yeah, it's the people's choice. Yeah, you guys should do this, you guys should do that. At the end of the day, we vote and stuff, but you don't see whatever happens behind closed doors. Like whatever a politician does, whatever the MP does, you don't actually see it. They will say, oh yeah, we've done this. They take a picture with someone, post it on the news. Yeah, they've done it. It might not be real, it might be fake. Like after a while, I don't even know what to trust. Like news, it's like, okay, if this happens, I probably read somewhere else, probably on another news channel. Say, oh, this happened, and both of them are conflicting. So who's telling the truth right now?
It's the same with like the ballot box. I mean, you tick for
Yeah.
who you want, and that goes in the ballot box. And yeah, they have cameras and security for when they're counting the votes, but there's literally we're trusting those several hundred people on that single night
To count.
to count.
We touched on this last time, Glenn, with viewing figures of TV. You know, you trust. You know how they see how they recognise how many people have watched the TV program by putting a box on it on a few thousand televisions, and then they'll turn around and say there was 25 million people watching the World Cup final. It's still all. That's why when this big fake news issues come about, it's always been this way.
Yeah.
So then people are trying to say, look, this is something what is happening now. No, this is something what has happened forever. This is what news is. News has the possibility. So once again, the people who are using that agenda are very clever because they're now making it sound as so it is only about now. No, this is whether you went back
Not only
last
that,
decade,
but then,
last century, 2 centuries, this has always been the same.
Yeah.
But not only that, they're now posting true news because they're pointing out the fake news. So is that true news still fake news, or is that true news?
No, that's the way. Of course
Exactly,
it is.
yeah.
So they're rebranding fake news.
Yeah.
This is now new. New, truer news.
So Facebook.
Now newer and truer. It's better than before. It's homegrown, and you can get it now. And people have thought like.
And then you get huge organisations like Facebook who have actually decided to say, you know what, we're going to try and flag fake news.
That's going to be impossible. How's this going to happen?
Well, they can flag whatever they want,
Yeah,
whether it's true or not. So it's going to be based on their vested interests, isn't it? So this if we say this is true news, it could really damage our business. Anything bad, it'd be interesting to see if anything bad was said about Facebook, whether or not they'd flag it up as fake news.
Can we touch on something what we were speaking at the beginning? It was you have to do military service in your
it's a 2 year. It used to be 2.5 years, but when I went in, it was a 2 years conscription. So you could, depending on, you could go into the Navy. You could you either go into the Army, the police force, or civil defense, which is like firefighters.
But you weren't allowed to do certain. Because of your ethnic background.
Yeah.
This is what we were actually talking about.
Okay, I missed it.
So he has to do. Everybody's got to do national service.
Yeah.
But once again, I'll go back to what I said at the beginning. It's because humans don't know how to relinquish power. You know when I was saying all this.
Yeah.
So because of the suspicion and because of they want to maintain that type of power. And his ethnicity is Malay. He's not allowed to do what jobs. Or?
Well, I mean. I'm not allowed in military intelligence. I'm not allowed on the bomb squad. I'm not allowed in the Navy. Well, I mean, I might be allowed, but unless I'm not fully Malay. Like, I mean, if I'm mixed with, like, whatever.
Who decides this? How is this decided?
This is decided. Well, at the end of the day, they were saying they will go through your security clearances. They will check everything, your background, your family background, and yada yada yada. But to me, I believe at the end of the day, if you're Malay, there's a higher chance for you not getting into these sort of areas. Like the commandos. The commandos, one thing in Singapore is every single batch there is, they at least have 2. So they will always, you can never say, oh yeah, the commandos don't have a single Malay ethnicity in there. They will always have at least 1 or 2. Like for me, I've never seen a full, like a proper, like no, full-bred Malay in either in the Air Force or the Navy. No. Either that, they're always mixed. They're mixed with either Chinese, Eurasian, Indian. So you're never fully...
So there is no... Well you call it a national army, but they're not.
Because the thing is, they're always afraid. Like,
national.
if Singapore were to go to war, people like me and my race will run away to other countries because we're being surrounded by Malay countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines. But to me, I still find it bullshit. If you ask me to defend my country, I'll go back and defend my country for the people I love.
Yeah, but already the people who are at the core of that country have already had their suspicions cast, and because they are worried about you turning against your own country, you're not allowed in these positions. But that in itself then creates a divide in society.
Yeah, exactly.
This guy here, who's obviously, you've just heard what he said, he would go back and defend his loved ones anyhow, because that's where he's from. It doesn't matter about that, but because of their insecurities, because they can't relinquish their power, they're that paranoid that they can't
trust.
They can't trust. So they worry. And that comes full circle about the death penalty again. That's why when you start hearing them stories, you think, that you should give that a pass in that area, because if that's the type of ideology what you can see from the offset which he just give you, then could you really think that ideology would suit a death sentence as well? No. If you did have a death sentence, if you ever did, then surely society should be freer than ever. It should be open as ever, and it should have, it should be the most open society. If you have a closed society or people with raised suspicions and you have a death sentence, then that society would start to make you feel closed in, wouldn't it? It's like,
Well, I mean, I think it boils down back to like being in an Asian country. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, Asian countries are quite close. I mean, compared to Singapore, like, even though it's being multiracial, we have loads of Western influences. Like, to me, Western influences and Asian influences, when they blend together, they don't really go that well. There's a lot of clashing. Cause
it's like that here in Newcastle. I mean,
what with the Magnums and the Geordies? I mean, obviously the Geordies are Neanderthals. You know that.
I love the Geordies, man. They're the best people ever. Friendliest people ever.
Just in case anyone doesn't know, Stephen is Rackham.
Yeah, I'm from Sunderland.
But
I do like it up in Newcastle. It is a nice place, isn't it?
It is a nice place.
It is a good city. It is a good city.
I love it.
So yeah, I don't know if we have the same thing. That's actually probably it is. I've heard that actually, that if you're a Geordie, you're not allowed in intelligence, because obviously you're not allowed in certain areas of the army and.
Okay. So where are Mackhams allowed?
Obviously all the way at the top.
All the way to the top.
On that note, right, there's actually, I don't know how far you want to go back once again, you might want to Google it, because Google is the all-seeing eye of the world. Google can just tell you everything.
Yeah.
You notice that? That's weird, isn't it? Like Wikipedia and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'll just Google it. Just Google it.
It's like an official word.
Yeah.
Like
Google it.
There should be a Google University.
You got a problem, you just Google it.
You need to learn something.
Try to find someone, Facebook.
You do anything. How many times have you just Googled it?
I mean, you can try even Googling yourself. I've done it before.
I'm really popular. Google really likes me. Type my name in and see what comes up. Oh wait, it's
Isn't there? Yeah.
You'd shit yourself if it was some sort of what we found with the doctor.
You can find, if anyone wants to find out about me, just Google my name. You will find my whole life story.
Well, no, I don't think whole life story though. Majority of
No,
it.
yeah, you can find out a lot about me. I mean, see, I can imagine like some people, like I know my parents, they wouldn't.
Oh, he looks really. Look at that guy. Look at him. Yeah, he looks American. Yeah, if you want to just look up his LinkedIn profile, crisp white iron shirt, hand just off to the right, microphone.
Gotta give my little public speech there.
Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook.
Someone said he looked like Mark Zuckerberg Pillman in the background. Mark.
There we go.
Oh my!
Some nice
look
PR
at this.
photos there
Look
too.
at this. Look at all this. Very
I've
nice.
actually never read any of this.
Do you want to go? Do you want to take the conversation in a totally different direction and tell them what we were speaking about with the sedation?
I'll let you introduce that, Stephen.
Come on.
So Stephen.
No.
Stephen was telling me about a story that he heard. That I think was. on the news
I asked how many times anybody had been sedated.
Oh yeah. Of
That's
course.
all it was.
Yeah.
Anthony found it rather hilarious what we found out.
So is this like full sedation or?
Yeah, well, I mean, you obviously it's full sedated. You can't be half sedated.
Oh
I mean,
no,
like,
that's what
half
happened.
of your body
That's what
is
happened.
awake
That's
and
what
half of your
happened.
body is
So
asleep.
as I was speaking about this, Anthony spoke about our friend Mark Towns. If you listen to this, Townsy, this is going out on the podcast. And he said because I do know. Obviously, you told us that you had an op on your nose. That's why you haven't been coming down to the gym to do some martial arts. But he said that when you woke up from your operation, you could taste bumhole in your face. I don't know how you know what a bumhole is, but what did you say?
Bumhole and balls in his mouth.
He says he could taste some sort of like body in his. This is the actual truth. So then obviously we.
If anyone can see Ahmed's face right now, he's very disconcerted.
I obviously then asked like how many times you've been sedated, and I said, "Can you imagine what went on?" Glenn's been sedated 5 or 6 times.
Shit.
I think I've been
Never
sedated.
tasted
I've been
one of them
sedated
afterwards.
once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We found.
I've never tasted butthole in my mouth, so yeah.
What we found out, what I pointed out, and what we did find out, that there was a lot of doctors across the world who'd used their position
They're professional.
to sedate people and fondle them while they were or do whatever else to them while they were asleep.
Sexually assault will go down that word route.
There was one person in particular from Manhattan, one doctor who actually got caught putting himself on someone's face, and Anthony thought that was hilarious. Unless it was one of his members of his family, but he thought
It might sound funny, but like I can't.
No.
It's the hot. Can you even imagine waking up to that?
Well, what I said.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you will wake up normally. There's nothing on your face. They'll probably clean you out once it's done. Like
No, but that's what we've just said. Townsy woke up and he had this like taste.
Yeah.
He had this like sort
It
of like
makes
salty.
you wonder, doesn't it? Like you putting your trust in these people, and
Well, that goes back around to what we've just been talking
Yeah.
about. You put your trust in these people, in society, government. You put yourself. You make your vote. You fold your little thing up. You put your little vote. You put it in there, and you say, "I'm going to trust you."
I'm going
Yeah.
to trust you to then pick the people who I'm also going to trust.
Yeah.
and then fuck us over.
Yeah. Yes, basically.
Exactly.
Basically, literally, that's what's happening here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to fuck you. That's what we're going to do, people.
Leave you with a poo taste in mouth.
Some salty taste on the lips and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Oh.
As he reaches for his apple snapple. You know, get a little nice sweet taste in the mouth.
Yeah.
Look, guys, I'm probably going to have to leave you here.
Oh.
That's
I
fine.
wish I could leave you on a much better note, but obviously that was Anthony Pillman's input. And mine's obviously a lot more highbrow, and I'll be bringing more substance, the right type of substance to the show. Not the
Fantastic. Right, so we'll give it a quick pause here while we say bye to Stephen, and then
Okay, bye people. See you soon. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Fun.
what are you weird and what maybe yes weird ceramic things and stuff. What are you building for your final year?
Alright, so basically, I think how I went about going through my final major project was I did like a survey. I wanted to know like what meant what meant the most to people, like instead of like having your basic answers of like, oh, like my family means the most to me and stuff like that. I started to look it into a more material sense. Yeah, material. What the fuck? Yeah, material sense. So like majority of them stated like, oh, they love the cameras, they love their phones, passport. I have like there's some people who like basically said, oh yeah, I'm not really attached to materials, but I think at the end of the day, like for me, in my case, I think I've been attached to a lot of things. Like whenever I buy something, I'm immediately buying a part of me. Like I basically read this journal saying that what's that journal? Oh, it's not here. It's in my hard drive. Yeah, basically this journal says that whenever you buy something, that product or item is basically a reflection of yourself. Yeah, I got that from Fabiano. So we're talking about like materials and items and things. So yeah, and then it brought I think looking back into things that photography was one of the most eye-opening or more understanding. It was photography basically was one of my greatest interests when I first started it. Like I found a way to express my own feelings, express my own art, and and
like
then
moments of
moments of solidarity. Like just creative
Are
moments.
you always
like,
alone when you take photos?
to be fair, like if you were to look into my Instagram, if you were to look into my Facebook, I seldom take pictures of myself. Like I don't need to show people how I look like. I just need to show people what I think and what I love to do. Yeah,
I'm with you on that.
yeah. And that's why I don't really have good profile pictures. I always wait for the right moment for someone to take a picture of me. And I refuse to say, no, I don't want a group photo. But yeah.
It's that's weird thing about like photos. Like they're great like captures of time.
Yeah.
But then with things with social media is you can then select which photos you want.
Exactly.
So that's again it brings back to this whole like fake news thing. If you take a photo and you don't like it, then you won't post it. If you take a photo and you do like it, you will post it. So that's like in favor of you.
Yeah.
So is that a true reflection of you? No, that's only half of you, isn't it?
Because I think whenever, to me, in my sense, is whenever I take a photo, it's symbolizing of what I see of the world. It's like, okay, if this moment, like I really like this moment, I'll capture it. If I don't like it, I won't capture it. Like that's why I still shoot analog.
Yeah.
36 frames, or if I shoot panoramic with my Hasselblad X-Pen, it will be 22 frames. Yeah. Because I never like taking a picture once and then looking at it and then taking it again. Like
you want it to be like
I want it to. Well, it doesn't have to be perfect because at the end of the day, like there's no perfection in art or design. Well, I mean, probably there is, but in my opinion, there's always that. With this certain flaws, it gives it that personality.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Yeah. So like whenever I shoot analog or when I shoot film, like 36 frames can last me over a month.
Wow.
Yeah. Like if I were to really take it, like I'll look in the viewfinder, I'll look at it, and then I'll think about it. And if I don't like it, is it worth it? No, it's not worth my frame. I'll just put my camera back and I'll just walk away.
So your whole uni project is based around you being a camera lover in a sense.
Yeah, basically camera lover. Cause so basically I'm designing this this backpack for photographers and videographers who work and travel on the go. Basically, I think this project is just basically balls around me, what I want to do. Like, I've always been traveling. I've always been so-called backpacking. I've always been that person who, alright, let's go. Like, I've been quite spontaneous in whatever I do. So, to me, it's like, I've never found that backpack that I could put my camera equipment, put my travel essentials like clothes and stuff like that, and then just go, travel and see what's out there. I've always had to either stuff my camera in my huge bag and then worry about it along the way.
Yeah, and try to find.
Not try to find. It's just that like when you travel, I always bring my laptop along with me. I bring my camera. Like I don't bring a huge setup. I just bring a standard camera and a lens, a standard body and lens, and that's about it. Like I think sometimes being minimal is quite satisfying because you're restricted to what you have, and then from there you have to work with what you have.
It like forces you to be creative with your shots. So if you had everything, then you would immediately
you'll be
pick the
spending time
perfect-
like, oh yeah, I need to change lens. Oh no, I need to put my tripod here. I need to wait. But
rather than observing that moment,
I think that's one thing that it goes well with street photography as well. Like you capture that moment and that's it. If you miss it, you miss it. You can't see it ever again. You probably have to wait there for like a few days and to get the actual picture again. But yeah, so that's my project. I've been procrastinating a lot. Yeah, I think that that drive has slowly evaded me somehow or another, which is sad.
Is that like fear of failure, do you think? Or
it's not a fear of failure. I have a feeling it's that fear of me going back home to find work.
Oh really?
Yeah, because I think I think this is my head. Like my head's sometimes quite confusing.
Yeah.
I don't actually want to go home. Like I've seen the world. I've seen the outside world. Yes, there's pros and cons everywhere I go, but I think the people say that the grass is always greener on the other side, but to me it depends on how green you want it to be.
Yeah.
Like I've seen this article somewhere came out on Facebook. Yeah, like some foreigner posted it saying, oh yeah, Singapore's 10 times better than where he's been. I can't remember where he was from actually, but like after being in Singapore for my entire life, well, not now, no longer my entire life. I've been in Singapore for about 26 now, 4 years. Like 22, 23 years in Singapore. Like, it's nice to be there. That it's safe, secure, everything's around there. Family, food, friends. But I think why I decided to come over to the UK or to overseas, to go abroad to study was I wanted to find myself again, like during that military phase. Yeah,
that whole fresh start.
Yeah, that whole fresh start. Yeah, because you've been encapsulated in this place for 2 years, you start to lose yourself a bit.
Yeah, because you know everything and you know what to expect.
Yeah,
I can imagine. I've never been to Singapore. It's somewhere I'd love to go.
Yeah.
As would many, but I can imagine just because of its size that you begin to know it inside out very, very well.
Yeah.
It's like I've lived in Newcastle for 5 years and I could say that I know where almost everything is.
Yeah.
That's because it's quite a condensed and small city.
It is,
there's like no way you'd ever learn London again if you lived there.
Well, I mean, I'll probably have to stay there my entire life. And probably know every ins and outs.
Yeah, exactly. But you could live in London for your whole life and
still not know.
Still not know, and probably still have never been to every single underground station and stuff like that. But in Singapore, is there like much public transport? Is there a need for public transport?
Well, to be fair, Singapore's quite small, so public transport is the best way to go. Like, yeah, you can drive, you can buy a car, you can buy a motorbike, but public transport is, to be fair, it's one of the best. Well, I wouldn't compare it to Japan, but to me, it's one of the best in Southeast Asia. Like, people... Well, I just need to wait for the train for about less than 5 minutes, and then the next train arrives.
Wow.
Yeah. During peak hours, it's about 2-3 minutes. So yeah, that's how efficient our transportation is back home. But people still complain, like, oh, I have to wait 2 minutes for the train. I'm like,
2 minutes?
Are you kidding me?
Have you ever been to UK?
Have you been to London? Then like everyone's on strike and you have to take the bus. It takes you forever to get around in London. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think it made me realize that yeah, I've been quite sheltered when I've been staying in Singapore. Like, everything's good. It's a safe country, but I would say the grass is always greener on the other side because there's pros and cons. Like in the UK, like yeah, there's loads and pros and cons.
Would you say it is the grass is greener, or would you say it's just a different grass on the other side? So you just
I think
want to
it's
try it
the
out?
perspective on how you look into things.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's like I'm always looking for that experience of not being in a place where I actually know it. I like traveling. I like being spontaneous. Like if you tell me right now, like let's go to Vienna now. If I have the money, I'll tell you, yeah, why not? Let's go.
Yeah.
Even though I have uni work to do, which I'm supposed to be doing, but no.
Hey, you can do it on that train. That'll take you forever.
yeah. Like that's the thing. Like I'm always down for anything really. Yeah. I mean, I think people, I think I appreciate of what I have, but sometimes it's okay for me to not have the things that I have. If you understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah, like it starts.
Say that again.
I appreciate the things that I have, but
Yeah.
it's okay to be if I don't have it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
So
like a
it comes back to
luxury.
that, like simplicity.
Yeah,
that,
simplicity in life, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's fine.
my mind's a bit confusing after a while.
Before we were talking about public transport and cars, is it Singapore that has that tax on cars? Or is that somewhere else?
No, it's only in Singapore. So basically in Singapore, you need to buy this piece of paper which is called Certificate of Entitlement. And this piece of paper will allow you to own a car. But this piece of paper would basically cost you twice or 3 times as much as a car.
So if a car, like say you bought a car for 10 grand, it could cost you 30 grand.
Yeah.
That's just freaking crazy.
Might be more
Do
than
you think
30
that
grand.
that's because of the whole politics side, or do you think it's because
To
of
be,
the
I think it's
size
more
of
of the size of the
density
country.
and-
Yeah, it's density, the amount of cars they need to regulate and stuff like that. So Singapore is quite small. It takes me at least 45 minutes from the east side of the country to travel all the way to the west side by car, and that's about driving. I'm driving at about like 80, 90 kilometers an hour.
What's that?
Yeah.
What's that in miles?
I have no idea what's that in miles. Let's check.
It'll be like 70 or 60, 70.
Yeah, I have a feeling, yeah, in miles per hour. Yeah, no, 55. Yeah, 55
Oh.
miles.
Okay.
Like 56 miles an hour. Yeah.
Remind me not to drive in Singapore.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like, that's quite fast for me, but
Yeah, well, you don't need to go much faster.
yeah.
Because
But it's nice to drive fast. But yeah, basically this piece of paper is quite expensive because I think it's just to regulate.
So
the-
is that like a tax
Car
or is it like a certificate?
it's a certificate.
And is that for the
It's
car?
called COE.
It's called
Certificate.
COE.
Certificate of Entitlement.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy that you need
a piece of paper.
A piece of paper to tell you that you are entitled to something.
Yeah,
Is that not like
it's not like
is that not like against your freedom to do stuff?
to be honest, even if you get married
Is
here,
it-
you still need a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything needs a piece of paper now. You get a degree, it's like, oh, I've graduated. They give you a piece of paper. You've
Yeah.
graduated. It's like, oh, I've done this. They always give you a piece of paper to show.
It comes back. I think Stephen was mentioning this. I don't know if he mentioned it in episode 2, but he was talking about who actually decides
Mm-hmm.
that you are entitled to that sort of thing, or
Yeah.
who has the right to give you that piece of paper to say that
Yeah.
that you're good. I found that really interesting, and it's the same with institutions.
Yeah.
So you have the RIBA as the Royal Institute of British Architects.
Mm-hmm.
What right do they have to say, actually, you know what, you are now entitled to be an architect? You could be you could have the same competence as an architect.
Yeah.
In fact, you could be 100 times more competent than an architect.
Yeah.
But because you haven't gone to that
Yeah.
institution and asked for a piece of paper
To show, to tell
to
the world
tell
that
people
yes, I am.
You
a
officially
certified
cannot
architect,
call
yeah.
yourself an
An
architect.
architect,
You
yeah.
legally, you can be. I don't know if you can be in prison, but you'll definitely be fined or something.
Really?
Well, fraud.
Shit.
It's crazy just because of one word.
Yeah.
I think that's mind blowing.
Yeah.
So,
Well, this, I think, in my sense of like working experience, like I've always believed experience beats that piece of paper you've done. Like, assuming you've done 4 years of university and say, yeah, I've done it compared to 10 years of experience. Like, I've always been that a person who believes experience is better than education sometimes. Like, throughout my entire uni life, 4 years of being in uni, like, I've never actually learned something that my tutors have taught me. Everything is Google it, Google, YouTube, yeah. Basically,
teach yourself.
Yeah, basically I'm paying 11.5 grand a year.
That's the institution.
Yeah.
The international
fees for my intake in like 2012. Yeah. Well, I paid to. I applied in 2012, but I went in 2013.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 11.5 grand. I was like, all I do is just Google shit out and YouTube it. So why turn up to you?
So when you get your degree,
I should just pay YouTube and Google. Yeah.
to give you a
To give me a certificate. It's like, yeah, you have been certified by Google that you are a designer now.
But then you think about that, it's not even Google, it's the information that Google pulls up, which could be anything.
Yeah.
So your degree will be entirely based on
Other people's information. And experience, I call it, other people's tutorials.
Which I guess is where the whole academic conduct comes in, and you have to reference, and you have to find reputable. Is that the right word?
Reputable sources.
But then again, with like design for industry, I know that's like for architectural technology, the degree I do. I mean, that kind of makes sense because until I started my degree, I could not tell you how to build a house.
Yeah.
but with design, anyone. I knew that would bug.
Well, I mean, I think anyone can design it, but whether everyone likes your design, that's a different thing.
Whether everyone
likes it. You see,
design is subjective.
Yeah, design is like art. It's subjective. You can look at this painting which just splatters and oh yes, this is being painted by some famous so and so. But when you look at this actual painting painted by a street artist, you prefer the one in the museum compared to the one in street, and like some street artist painting it. So to me, it's really subjective.
What about design in form and function? Because like the whole painting, that would be the whole form. You would decide how that looks. It has no real function. Its only function is to please those people who would like it. But say this bag you're designing, it actually has a functional need.
Yeah.
So that function could be perfect.
Yeah. To be fair, like for me, whenever someone says form or function, I would rather go for function.
Yeah.
Like I'm more of a functional person.
Practical.
Yeah, practical. Like I think there's this lemon squeezer. Well, I mean, that's the only thing I remember because it looks ridiculous. I can't remember what's the lemon squeezer called. Oh my god, I cannot. It looks like a rocket. I know people know it. Yeah. It's lemon squeezer.
I think I've seen
a rocket.
A kettle designed by the same guy. And it's
so basically there's this I think a lot of people know this. It's a LSC juicy salif citrus juicer. It basically looks something that came out from the Man in Black. How do I take it? Put it on the screen.
I think AirPlay in the top right. It should pop out.
Where's AirPlay? Apple TV. Oh, I need the code.
There you go. There's the code. We'll share this link with
0730.
So you guys can see what we're talking about.
Is it?
Oh. Oh yes.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
I've
I'm
definitely
on
seen that.
Amazon, so
It looks
yeah,
like,
it looks something out from Men in Black.
Or I was thinking War of the Worlds. Have you seen that film?
Ah, yeah, well, yeah. Like, this is form, not function. People buy it because it looks good. Like,
How does that even? Do you turn it upside down? Is that how that works?
no, I think you squeeze it that way.
You squeeze it
You
that
put,
way.
I think you squeeze it that way. You put the cup underneath, and then just wait for the
Oh, I
juice.
see.
Yeah, like I've always believed in function over form. It doesn't have to. Well, I mean, it has to look good up to a certain point, but the function has to be its main purpose.
See, it's drilled into us at our course. The function must always.
It's not
be
only
form.
that, because to me, like when I was in Singapore, I did an engineering background. I have a mechatronics background, so to me it's
What's mechatronics? Sorry?
mechanical and electrical engineering.
Oh, okay.
So to me, that was like whenever I think of what I should make, it has always been functionality over how it looks.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes it might look shit, but if it works,
Well, it has to
works.
work. Yeah. I mean,
That's its main purpose, working. Like as an engineer, you can make the most beautiful building, but if it can't withstand a simple push, it's bullshit. It's shit.
see, it's really strange. Like, for products, there's. Okay, I've got a good question for you.
Yeah.
Would you say for, the form and function sort of ratio should be the same between products and buildings?
For buildings.
For buildings.
Huh. I don't know. I really don't know.
The only reason
For
I ask is
buildings.
because obviously you get these huge buildings with millions and millions of pounds
Yeah.
pushed into them
Yeah.
to look something quite magnificent, like a work of art,
Yeah.
when actually it might functionally be terrible. It does that happen with normal products as well?
Some so wait, basically you're saying that it looks good but it's shit. It works shit.
Yeah.
layman's
I
terms, yeah.
can't think of.
For buildings, if you were to put it into products,
Yeah.
I think there's that, like some, I don't know, like to be honest you like saying I don't know how to answer this question.
We're currently getting distracted by drinks. That's why there's all this hesitance. So that lemon squeezer,
Yeah.
it does have function.
It does have
but
function.
it's more about the form.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about that sort of thing on buildings? So do you think there should be more form in buildings or more function in buildings? Like if you think about the Sage in Newcastle,
Yeah.
like it's that wiggly worm shape.
Yeah.
Its form would be that wiggly worm shape. Like there's no real fucking need for it to be like that.
Yeah.
But functionally, it's actually a really good space inside.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually designed inside out.
Really?
A lot of people don't know this, but the spaces inside were entirely designed on their acoustic properties. So when you have bands or plays or whatever you've got going on in there, the sound would be phenomenal. And the spaces within, how you move around, around the building, that was all designed. And then they wrapped it in that slug.
Yeah.
I'm saying slug because that's what it looks like, not because I'm calling it ugly. But
because the thing is, like for the stage is being built around acoustics, and for music that's the most important thing, to have that best sound, that best feel, that best environment. So I think there's a balance between, for buildings, I think the best way to have it is a balance between both, because at the end of the day it has to look good but it has to function. Like there's a lot of buildings, like as of now I think everyone's making spectacular buildings, but most of them have function as well. So I think with buildings you can, as long as the function backs up with the form, for buildings I think it's fine. But with products,
when you start adding stuff, that's when things get messy.
Yeah, like with
No, I totally agree with you there.
yeah, like with products, if it looks good but it doesn't work, it's shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're buying it for the looks. I would rather buy a painting if I want to buy it for looks. Yeah, really.
You're that black and white.
Yeah, that's how I am.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, for me, if you're telling me, would I buy,
So you sat here with a Mac, but
yeah,
are you buying that for the form or for the function?
I bought it for the form. I didn't buy it for the function. I bought it for the function. sorry. Got confused there for a bit. Yeah, I bought it for its function because I used to own a Windows computer
Yeah.
throughout my polytechnic years, so about two years, and then it broke down on me. Then I got a Mac, because to me it's like a MacBook is simple. To me it's simple enough. I think because Apple is a cult. Really, Apple's a cult. Everyone buys into it. But when I bought into Apple, it was like, because I liked how it's simple and then there's not much virus going on. To me, that was that was the most important thing. I just wanted a fast and simple computer, which I could use. But like I said, Apple, it takes time for you to get into it. But once you get into it, you can forget about everything else.
It's really strange because Windows is seen, well, I'm pretty sure, well, it's definitely the most used operating system.
Yeah, it is the most used.
There will be stats out there on that. Fake news. But do you think this is because it's been drilled into us to use Windows PCs at a young age? Like, what always intrigued me, is in primary schools, I don't know if it's the same in Singapore and stuff, but at primary schools, the first computers that we were taught how to use have always been Windows PCs.
Same. Yeah.
So I've always been comfortable with the interface.
But I think it depends on which generation you grew up in.
Do you think?
Yes. Because
do you think kids today...
maybe kids today, you never know. Probably in kindergarten, people are using iPads. You never know. Like it's been a while since I've been back to school or primary school and kindergarten. I've never seen, like, kids these days are playing with iPads and iPhones. Where I think we're roughly the same age. Where I grew up, the best thing I ever had was a Game Boy Advance. That was the best thing I ever had. And then at the end of the day, I don't even play that much. I'll just go out and play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. Yeah, because I always think, should they have introduced me to other operating systems at a younger age, should they have shown me at least one Apple Mac?
Yeah.
Or should they have shown me
Linux
system?
Because when we grew up,
I mean?
Apple was still starting out. Apple only exploded when they came out with the iPhone 3. And that was like, how long ago? And I was like, probably in secondary school, 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, at that point of time, I still had my Nokia brick phone. Yeah.
I had my Sony Ericsson.
The only why I decided to turn, like, for my phone, why I decided to turn to the dark side of Apple was, like, I was basically using a BlackBerry. I love my BlackBerry. QWERTY keypad, minimal. I just needed, because to me, my phone just needed to call, to message, emails.
Do you want my Windows phone? Because that's all that does.
Windows phone is shit. Never give me a Windows phone anymore. Please don't. Yeah. No, I'm not having your shitty phone, no. But yeah,
I'll trade. I actually just take it for free. I mean.
Yeah. It's like, so I was like, and the problem with BlackBerry was their app store wasn't that great. If BlackBerry had an app store like how Android or the iPhone is, I'll probably still stick with BlackBerry.
So is that, do you think the developer's fault, or do you think that's BlackBerry's fault? Like, the people who create apps, should they have had a bit more of a...
Because I think BlackBerry ran on a different OS. Because it was the most secure OS.
It's designed for business, wasn't it?
It's designed for business. Like, at that point in time, like, people were carrying, like, 3 BlackBerries. It's like, what do you need 3 for? You just need 1. Yeah, but... it was the most secure. People could do a lot of things with BlackBerry. That's why I think there was a security threat with BlackBerry. Because like they were saying that, I don't know, maybe I read this, maybe I misread it, or I probably saw it online like years ago. They were saying that terrorists were using Blackberries to send encrypted messages across. Because Blackberry had their Blackberry Messenger, which was secure, and you could only talk between Blackberries.
I remember that. Is it called BBM?
BBM, yeah.
Yeah.
Blackberry Messenger, yeah.
I do remember that. And then WhatsApp took over on everything. Because I remember making the really hard decision to get a BlackBerry Curve or an Android phone. And I was so close to getting the BlackBerry Curve. But I went to the HTC Wildfire. I don't know if you remember that phone. It was my first ever Android phone. And I was like, oh my god, I'm really missing out. Everyone has BBM. Everyone has. I was like,
well, yeah. At that point of time, BlackBerry was quite cool.
Yeah, it's costing me a
quite
fortune.
cool. Yeah.
And then WhatsApp came out.
Yeah.
And I was like, haha, fuck you guys. I'm going on WhatsApp.
Yeah, it was that point of time where Apple was still climbing up and BlackBerry was quite stable.
Yeah.
And stuff. So I was like, yeah. Like why I decided to use.
I think Android and Apple round of applause for penetrating the market because like BlackBerry had full control.
Yeah, at that point of time. Yeah.
It wasn't an iPhone sticking out your back pocket; it was a BlackBerry.
Exactly, and you had that light flashing. You could change that.
Yeah,
light.
you could change the light.
Exactly.
And everyone was playing that. I remember the brick game where there's like a ball.
Yeah,
I can't remember what that's called.
Yeah, why I got a BlackBerry was because at that point of time, I just wanted something different. BlackBerry to me was different.
Yeah.
It wasn't like an Apple. It wasn't like iPhone. It's like oh my god, touchscreen. Yeah. I basically got the first BlackBerry Storm.
Oh wow.
So basically, it was a BlackBerry, but the touchscreen was you had to press down. So it was basically like a mouse pad.
It was like they call it like a tactile touchscreen instead of the
So basically whenever you
push
press the entire screen goes down.
Yeah.
It was cool. I was like, shit, this is cool. But then
it's cool until it starts becoming unresponsive and then you have to like
well
punch
basically what happened was assuming if I were to call you now, my phone will put you on hold and dial you again while we're still having this conversation.
Really?
Yes. That was how screwed up my phone was.
Man.
But I had it for 2 years. So
that's not ideal.
yeah. When I went to the military I couldn't have a camera phone, so I
really?
BlackBerry. Yeah.
Seriously,
You're not allowed cameras in cabs at that point of time, but after a while they changed the rulings. So certain places now you can have a camera, but you can't bring like a Galaxy Note, or there's a certain restriction on what size of phone you could bring into camp and stuff. So yeah.
Is that like? My apologies. That was my phone.
Silent phone.
That's actually my mother calling, which is she never calls. No, I'm kidding. She always calls. Was that like a security thing?
Yeah,
or
security.
For the camera, or for the fact it could be like a.
Basically, it was security for not leaking information out. That's all.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So.
I think See, I know in the army and stuff, it's pretty strict in terms of information. But if you took a picture of your mates or whatever in a camp, they wouldn't kill you.
They would, depending on where you are and what you were doing. Really, yeah. Because basically, there's these stories back in Singapore where people get punished for the videos they took and being leaked online. Is the amount of, because basically is the stuff that has been happening in camp where you're not supposed to do it, but you've done it, and then you took a video and you post it online. So yeah.
Let's say Glenn's just brought up a graph. It's gone away again of operating systems.
Oh, that was mine.
Oh, was that yours?
Yes, that was mine.
Oh. Oh, my bad. Do you want to bring that back up? We just missed that.
So how do I have to click it again? Yeah.
Here we go. So this is the top operating systems.
This is basically off computerhope.com. I have no idea how reliable is this source, but Google tells me it's reliable, so I trust Google.
So Android is at 30, 31, 32%.
Yeah. Windows 7 is 20%.
Windows 7.
Oh no, this is top. This is from June to August.
This must be all operating systems as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
So that's Windows 7. So that must be computers. So,
Yeah.
so there's more phones than computers. That's more
Because
Android
to be
phones.
fair, you can buy an affordable phone compared to
Yeah, that's
computer.
true. Well, phones are computers.
a smartphone.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you've got iOS at 12%, Windows 10 at nearly 12%.
Yeah. This is OS from June to August 2016.
Like say, my phone in theory is Windows 10, but there's just no support from developers.
Yeah. To be fair, like if I were to ever use Windows, it would be either Windows XP. It's simple.
Windows XP
It's simple enough for you to understand.
In fact, that still holds 3% of the
Yeah.
market, which is incredible. OS X. What's OS X?
Mac.
Is that Mac?
Yeah.
There we
iOS.
go.
iOS is the phone.
iOS is the phone.
Yeah.
So OS X is at 5%. We'll post this link on as well if anyone wants to have a look at that. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Unknown. That's probably Linux.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't realize Windows XP. I don't know if it's probably no longer supported, but it was a good one. It's interesting that Windows Vista is not on that list.
To be fair,
Which was in between Windows
XP
and Windows 7. Which a lot of people think that Windows Vista sort of bumped Microsoft down on the list. But they pulled it back with Windows 7. It's interesting.
Yeah. Windows XP was in between. Windows Vista was in between XP and 7. Yeah.
And then it was Windows
7,
8.
then 8, then now 10.
And then 10 because they didn't want to release a 9. Yeah, they've always had a bit of a history of releasing a good operating system and then a bad one and then a good one and then a bad one.
To be
My
fair,
experience with Windows 10 so far has been pretty good.
it's so confusing.
Except for the crashes,
Yeah.
which is quite a
Like,
lot.
It's so confusing. Like to me, whenever, I think it's basically back to formal function. I just need it simple. Like Windows 95, 98, XP, those were like basic. You just need to click that button down there. It pops up everything you need. My computer and stuff. Like now, like with Windows 10, there's no computers. Like where's the computer? You need to type and find it, which is it gets really hard. But some people like it, some people
you
don't.
have to kind of use and abuse the search.
Yeah.
The search on there, which kind of brings it back to the Google culture. That we no longer want to find stuff; we want stuff to find it for us.
Yeah. That's why I think libraries are gonna close down soon.
Do you?
Yeah. Like,
I love the idea of libraries. That idea of, I don't like libraries in terms of there's a shitload of books, there's a shitload of CDs, go and use what you want. I like the idea of libraries of a collaborative community space.
Yeah.
Which which government and local councils can help support people. Like Newcastle, I know Newcastle City Centre Library is really, really good. They offer loads of space for people to run their own projects, and they offer loads of support. I know that they've had Google in there running their courses. They've had they run intellectual property workshops. They do all sorts, which is really good. That's on a whole business sense, obviously, but in terms of personal benefit and research, there's all those resources there as well.
Yeah.
As part of my coursework, actually, we've been tasked to sort of evaluate the city libraries.
Oh,
use,
shit. That's cool.
which is sort of why I asked that form and function question.
Yeah.
Because if Ryder Architecture, which is a Newcastle design firm, architecture firm, practice, were tasked to design it, and they used the environment around them and stuff, and we were essentially told to critically analyse the design, how it's used today, in comparison to how it was originally thought and stuff like that. And it's been really, really interesting seeing the thought processes behind the design, why certain things were chosen, what could be improved, but just learning about the library itself is really, really cool. They actually have a book which they've published and they sell in the library called the Library Book.
Shit. Really?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Wow.
I think when I got it was 50p.
Wow.
Like, so if you want to know, it sounds like really nerdy, but if you want to know a little bit more about
Really?
Newcastle City, no, it's really, really interesting. Like thinking about that whole process of where they took the brief and how they researched and they travelled around the world looking at other libraries and stuff. The whole story's in there. But like so many people don't know the sort of truth behind it. It's really, really, really worth going and having a look. I think they sell that in the library.
Yeah, because I think whenever someone tells me a library, it's like, oh, it's a place filled with books and people. Like, I'm fine with it at that point in time where I still read books. Like, yeah, I like the idea of going to a place where, oh yeah, there's books and stuff. Like, for example, our uni library. Oh my god, it's just jam-packed with people. And there's no longer that comfort.
No.
Because I think library to me has always been that source of, right, I want space by myself. I don't want to be at home. I just want to be surrounded by smells of books. Probably some people like it. To be fair, I really like the new smell of a new book. It smells great.
Have you been to the Lit and Phil library down by the train station? It's the literature and philosophy library. Do you know Tub Tub Palace?
Yeah.
No, not Tub Tub Palace. What am I thinking? Jaloo, the bar.
Yeah.
So if you keep going down that road, like opposite Revs, on that corner, that's where it is, and it's. I don't know if it's free to go in, but where I used to work, they had a membership there, and it's amazing. It's like walking back in time. I think it might be free to go in, but you need a membership to take books out or something, kind of, like most libraries, I guess. But it's an incredible space, like just full of old philosophical books. And, it feels like a museum when you're in there as well. It's like one of those hidden gems of Newcastle that I love.
I should go there soon.
Yeah, you should go. If you like photos, it's perfect for photos. And they've got like different tiers of books and stuff. It's worth having a look there. But yeah, I think libraries are great for the community.
Yeah, I just don't like our uni library. Like, to be fair, I've only done, like, throughout my entire 4 years, the most I've only stepped into the library and done work 3 times.
Serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Library to me was a meeting point.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. There has been times though where I've been like so fed up of just doing work at home, or so I would purposefully go there at like 4 a.m. because I know it will be quiet and I can just crack on. But my problem with the library at the minute, and actually it's probably the same in any library, is that I don't know about you. Do you keep most of your work on the cloud now, like OneDrive, Dropbox?
I only use Dropbox if I need to travel.
So I keep everything on either OneDrive
I still
or
have
Dropbox.
hard disk. I don't trust the cloud. After the recent Apple, well, not so recent, like Apple, like iCloud photo links, I said, nah, man, nah.
No.
I keep it everything.
Yeah.
I'll keep it
I always
manually.
think though that if someone wants to hack in and get it, they're gonna hack in and get it.
Oh yeah, definitely, man.
Whether you're online or offline.
Yeah.
But like modern libraries with computers and systems that they have their own systems that they use. They don't really connect well with with my I call it my personal life. they don't make it easy for me to access
Yeah.
my like OneDrive files, my Dropbox files. So if they made that easier, I think more people would use. Well, certainly the younger generation would use that more.
Yeah.
If they sort of caught on to that technology, that cloud technology.
Yeah, I think it's really good, like having your work, no matter how big it is, everywhere you go. But I think after a while, like, I have this worry with technology. Sooner or later, it's just gonna fail you. It's just gonna break down whenever you need it the most. Like, it happened the same time when I was in New York. I got lost. Like, I went to Brooklyn. I was supposed to get the subway back. I got lost. I was, God knows where was it. My iPhone was, I think, had 50%. I wasn't playing any music. It was cold. When I went out the station, it's like, where am I? It's like, I took out my phone, pressed Google, my phone just died. I was like,
no. Yeah, we do rely on like on Google Maps.
yeah, it's like Google
a bit too
Maps
much.
quite often. Like after a while, like with technology, I have this feeling that sometimes if you get too attached to technology, it's just gonna screw you up in the butt.
Yeah, my dad has a real issue with buying things on the cloud.
Yeah.
He's only just sort of doing things, like he's only just sort of investing in Spotify, and he doesn't really enjoy keeping stuff on the cloud. He doesn't like buying digital versions of things. I don't necessarily think it's a generation thing. It's probably more of a mindset thing, because the reason he enjoys hard copies of things is that if things ever go offline, or I mean it's very unlikely, but if all the servers just stop working, you would still be able to access those things. Like a CD, you could just plug it in. A record you could just put on. A book, if your Kindle just broke, you could still read your book.
Yeah.
And I totally get that, but then it comes back to this whole storage situation.
Yeah, like I think I'm the only cloud that I've ever used is Spotify. That's it. Because I listen to a lot of music, so I used to download it illegally. Kids don't do that, but yeah, I used to download it illegally. Ever since my website closed down, I stopped downloading music. So yeah, it was the best way to get music everywhere around the world, and it was like with Spotify, it was more mainstream. So to me, that was the easiest way. And before Apple Music came out, but I'm still a Spotify person, not Apple Music. Yeah.
The other good thing about Spotify is that it's free, and if you don't mind,
I'm paying student price, so it's like five quid. It's like 5 quid for no advert, and then you can like download the song in your phone and put it offline. So yeah, 5 quid. Yeah, take
if you do like a basic cost analysis of how many CDs you'd buy in a year if it wasn't for Spotify, it would be much less than £60 a year. I mean, much more than £60 a year.
Yeah, man. Like depending on how early you buy a CD. Like if you buy a general release, like newly released CD, it probably cost you about 15.
Yeah, exactly. So you only need to buy 4 CDs, whereas you pay for Spotify Premium and Student Premium.
Yeah. Well, I mean the average price is 10 quid. It's like $9.99. 10 quid. 10 quid is still quite alright. Like after if I don't have my student discount anymore, I think because like music is quite important to wherever I go. I always listen to music, so I'll pay for Spotify.
But then it's like if Spotify just decided to stop running as a company and they shut down stuff, you will have no physical thing or anything. You've been paying all this money with like essentially no outcome other than I need this now and then.
Yeah.
Whereas if you spent that £60, £120 on CDs every year,
it's like now like recent trends are coming out. Everyone's back into vinyls and stuff. I mean trends like every 90s trend is coming back. 90s like Power Rangers, the movie's coming back. They're doing a reboot. Vinyls is back. So many designs are inspired by the 90s.
I think it's like a hipster thing.
Yeah, talk about Adidas. Adidas is bringing back like the old 90s designs in their fashion, in their shoes. Air Max is releasing all their 90s shoes, their Air Max. So everything is coming back. I think at the end of the day, it's just going to be a cycle.
Yeah.
It's a vicious cycles of trends, like 90s. Yeah, I was born like I think we were in 90s.
Yeah.
90s, yeah. So everything like I've seen is like, oh, I like it.
Yeah.
It reminds me of how
the
times were
nostalgia.
much simpler back then, when it gets so complicated now. So yeah.
Thought you were a man of function, not form.
Yeah, but
No.
but that
Is that functional?
is that function that nostalgic function. Yeah, I'm still more of that touchy person where I still
Yeah.
need that.
Well, you can see that in your like Instagram, like through your photos,
Yeah.
that you enjoy that sort of hipsteriness.
Yeah, I wouldn't
No, not
consider
hipster.
myself a hipster, but
What's your Instagram? It's at
Ahmad Grizzly, AhmadGrzly. Yeah, it's just
Okay.
basically.
we'll throw that in the
Oh my
in the
god.
description. In case anyone wants to stalk
Yeah.
Ahmed's Instagram.
Thanks.
You have got some cool photos on there. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, not so much. Yeah, I wouldn't consider it cool. It's just my opinion on how I see the world. So yeah, if oh yeah, it's mine. I forgot. Yeah, but yeah, my photos are alright. I wouldn't say it's
Your
the
followers
best.
are okay.
My photos are alright.
Oh, I was like, my followers are okay. I mean,
Right, to be fair, I don't really
sometimes they
care
come
if I have 1 million followers or 1 followers, but
Put them up on there.
what, you put mine?
Yeah, so what?
Shit.
Yeah, we're gonna have a
Oh, no.
quick stalk.
Yeah, well, I don't really give a shit on what people think. Like, this is just mine. Yeah, Glenn, join.
Glenn is here. He's just been sat doing work.
Yeah.
Um,
Like, my photos are alright. It's just at that moment of where I travel, what I see, it's good.
lots of symmetry.
Yeah.
I like all the angles and stuff. If they're
Yeah,
like, really, like,
I've
interesting.
always been that person with like lines.
That one there's in Singapore, isn't it? Is that in Singapore? That one with the
Yeah.
yeah. I thought
This is
that's the-
Singapore, yeah.
So
Uh,
there's like one with 4 bridges.
No, it's not, it's basically an LRT track, so light rapid
Like,
transport.
yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, my photos are more of like travels or what I see or food that I eat. Yeah, that's about
That
it.
drawing, only supreme.
Yeah, it's a friend of mine who has his own design company called like Tell Your Children. So they do murals and stuff. And yeah, he just drew a sketch of mine when I was on placement. Apart from that, yeah, it's basically music, sites, yeah.
You go to a lot of festivals and stuff.
Oh
you're
yeah,
a big fan of music.
music is. I met all my best friends through music, so it's the like
Your
music to
biggest-
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would die without music. But yeah, a bit of family.
The thing with like festivals and stuff. I mean, I've never ever been to a music festival. I've only ever been to one gig, and that was Pendulum in like 2011 or something.
Yeah,
And I totally get why people go.
yeah,
It's like a total. It's that full immersion thing.
Yeah.
And it's not listening to the music. It's feeling the music, feeling everything around you.
yeah.
But one thing I don't get is when people like record the whole thing or they Snapchat things and Instagram. Like I know you do it occasionally, but you don't do it all the time.
It
And
really
like, but what really surprises me is in the videos that I do see is how many other phones I see out doing exactly the same thing, and I'm like, holy fucking shit! Like, let's say there's 1,000 people in a stadium.
yeah.
At least half of them are recording the event.
Yeah, it's the
And I'm
same, like,
whoa.
even
Why don't
what-
you just go on YouTube and fucking watch the thing?
Like even like
just
this
sit-
this photo that I went for the weekend. Like those are phones.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, whatever happened to just going to an event to just take it in and is that not why you pay to go to a festival? Or what?
I think at the end of the day, I think the.
I understand why you want to record that moment in time.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, yeah, okay, if you want to do 1 or 2 videos, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm not telling you what to do. But you get what I mean.
Yeah.
It's,
I think some people like whenever now whenever they go somewhere they want to take pictures. It's like, oh yeah, I've been here.
you think it's like a boasting, bragging thing.
It's about flexing. flexing of what you've got.
Societal flexing.
Yeah, it is.
We're gonna trademark that term.
Well, no, it's already been used, so I'm just
damn.
reusing the word. So yeah, like to me, it's always that. I just want to capture that bit of moment, and then from there, yeah. Because to me, photographs means a lot, but I think somehow or another that experience, it boils back down for me is more experience. So even though I don't get a photo, even though I just have one photo and that's it, I just need one photo.
Yeah, and like I totally get that. But I've seen people at gigs, and it's like Snapchat after Snapchat after Snapchat, and it's
I did it during the weekend.
Oh, did you?
I did it during the weekend. Well, I mean, it was for me. It was to show my friend. She's in New Zealand, so it's just to poke you. It's like I'm watching the weekend, maybe you're not. Yeah, I mean, it's more of like. It has a purpose, but it was to me, it's like, I'm just poking at her. So once I'm doing it to her, I'll just do it on my story. Because at the end of the day, I just downloaded the entire
what
video.
if you're doing it anyway then?
Yeah, because the problem with my phone is it's a 16 gigabyte phone and I don't have any more space.
Yeah.
So Snapchat to me was like, 10 seconds. I'll just load it up and I'll just download the entire video.
Yeah. I was going to say something, I forgot. Oh, yeah. I remember watching you've heard of Michael McIntyre? The comedian? He, I think as part of one of his sketches, he was talking about, it could have been him, I can't remember. He was saying that there was like this little red light at one of his gigs.
Yeah.
Like on the front row, and it was doing his head in. And he knew someone was recording the whole thing.
Yeah.
So he decided to stop the show.
Yeah.
He started having a massive go at this kid, like, for recording the whole show.
Yeah.
And the kid was like, I'm so sorry, I'm just recording it for my friend who's got cancer and was meant to be coming, but is in surgery. And he was saying, like, that he never felt so bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's certain people who record it for people who can't actually go. But majority are just recording it because it's, I've been here.
It's like is it fair to call it a greed?
I wouldn't call it greed. I would call it more of like boasting and just showing off. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Well, I guess we can wrap it up here. It's a good topic to end it on. I don't know how long this has been going on for as well. I'm a bit conscious of...
Well, I mean, in total, like, it's just me and you, it's been an hour.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, because it's 26 now, 1:26.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so I'll post up all the links of Ahmad's Instagram and stuff, so you can check out and stalk who he is.
Yeah, I'm just...
the links we talked about.
no one, so... Yeah. I mean, if you're a future employer and you're willing to hire me, then why not? Yeah, I work hard. So, but if you're a person and you just like my work, thank you. But...
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we will see you next time.